People who live through a difficult childhood don't just grow up carrying memories. They carry a nervous system that learned early how to survive. Long after the events are over, the body and mind often keep reacting as if the danger could return at any moment. These patterns don't announce themselves loudly. They don't say, "This is trauma speaking." Instead, they quietly show up in everyday life. They show up in how deeply a canceled plan can sting, and how rest feels strangely uncomfortable, or in why a simple compliment can feel suspicious rather than warm. To the outside world, these reactions can seem confusing or exaggerated. To the person living inside them, they often feel automatic and impossible to control. When a child grows up in an environment that feels unsafe again and again, something profound happens inside them. This might involve neglect, emotional coldness, unpredictable anger, constant criticism, or living in chaos where no adult ever feels truly dependable. The child's brain adapts to that environment because it has to. Psychologists call this toxic stress, and it is very different from ordinary stress. Normal stress comes and goes and can actually help a child learn resilience when there is support. Toxic stress does not turn off. It floods a developing brain with stress hormones for long periods of time without relief. Research has shown that during those critical early years, this kind of stress can shape how certain parts of the brain grow, especially the areas involved in emotional regulation, threat detection, and decision-making. The child doesn't understand any of this while it's happening. They don't think in terms of brain chemistry or nervous systems. They just feel that the world is unpredictable and unsafe, so they adapt in the only ways available to them. Many children become hyper-aware, constantly scanning rooms and faces for subtle shifts in mood, learning to sense danger before it fully arrives. Some become emotional caretakers, trying to keep everyone calm and stable so nothing explodes. Others learn to disappear, to take up as little space as possible, believing invisibility might protect them. Some children become incredibly attuned to what others need while losing touch with their own needs entirely. These strategies are not weaknesses. They are intelligent survival responses created by a child with no power and no escape. The tragedy is that what once kept that child safe often becomes a source of pain in adulthood. The constant vigilance turns into anxiety that never fully shuts off. Even in safe moments, the body stays tense, waiting for something to go wrong. The peacemaker grows into an adult who feels responsible for everyone's emotions, who struggles to say no, and who feels guilty for resting or prioritizing themselves. The child who disappeared grows into an adult who feels disconnected from their own feelings, unsure of what they want or who they are beneath the adaptations. None of this is about blame. It is about understanding how deeply early environments shape later behavior. One of the most damaging effects of a painful childhood is shame. When bad things happen repeatedly and a child has no control, the mind looks for an explanation. Children naturally see themselves as the center of the world, so they often assume the problem must be them. If they were better, quieter, smarter, or more lovable, maybe the chaos would stop. Over time, this belief hardens. Instead of thinking, "I did something wrong," the child learns to believe, "I am something wrong." That distinction matters. Guilt can guide growth because it says a mistake can be corrected. Shame attacks identity itself and convinces a person they are fundamentally flawed. Large studies on adverse childhood experiences have shown how far these early wounds can reach. People who faced more adversity as children are more likely to struggle later with depression, anxiety, addiction, chronic illness, financial instability, and relationship difficulties. These patterns often persist decades after the childhood has ended. But this research is not meant to predict doom. It does not mean your life was decided before you had a chance. It explains why certain struggles exist, not whether change is possible. The brain remains capable of forming new pathways throughout life. Healing is difficult and often requires support, but it is absolutely possible. What makes all of this especially confusing is how quietly it shows up. It appears on an ordinary day, not in dramatic moments. It's the sudden tightness in your chest when someone says, "We need to talk."
It's the way a small mistake feels like proof you are about to lose everything. It's the discomfort that arises during calm moments, as if safety itself feels unfamiliar. Rest doesn't feel refreshing. Compliments don't sink in, but criticism echoes for days. Conversations get replayed over and over in your mind as you search for what you might have done wrong. These reactions can feel irrational, yet they make sense when you realize your nervous system learned long ago that small signals could mean big consequences. Adult life rarely gives clear danger signs, but the body doesn't know that. It reacts to silence, uncertainty, or mild conflict as if they are threats, because once they were. Understanding this can be strangely relieving. It reframes the story from "something is wrong with me" to "something happened to me." It means you are not broken. Your system simply hasn't updated yet. Many adults who grew up in chaos unknowingly recreate familiar patterns. Some are drawn to relationships that feel unstable because unpredictability feels normal, even if it hurts. Others go to the opposite extreme, becoming rigid and controlling because uncertainty still feels dangerous. Emotional flashbacks add another layer of confusion. Unlike memories, these come without images or stories. Suddenly you feel small, ashamed, terrified, or powerless with no obvious cause. Because the feeling is so intense, the mind looks for a present-day explanation, sometimes inventing problems just to make sense of the emotional storm. Healing is not a straight line. It means noticing old survival habits without judging them. It means honoring the ways they once protected you while slowly learning new responses. It involves teaching the nervous system that safety can exist in the present, that people can be reliable, and that your needs matter, not because you earned them, but because you exist. The child who endured all of that did not fail. They adapted with remarkable strength to circumstances no child should have to face. Now, the work is allowing the adult you became to take over, to create safety, and to finally let that child rest. And while that work is difficult, it may also be the most meaningful work you ever do.